Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Kian's here, and today we will dive into understanding focal length in photography and a comprehensive lens focal length guide. Let's get started. I got these questions all the time on Instagram. What's the first lens I should get? What's the first lens I should get? And I'm gonna tell you my opinion right now. The first lens that you should get is a 24 to 70mm lens. I have the 24 to 70 G Master version 1. That lens is a beast. It covers all the way from 24 to 70 with the f2.8. Now I can see a lot of people will say, oh no, I prefer a prime lens, I prefer to be a shallow depth of field. Trust me, you want the 24 to 70 if that's your first lens. I actually made that mistake when I first get into photography. My first lens was a 50 nifty. I mean, I love that lens. I got a lot of beautiful pictures from that lens. The bokeh, it's smooth, it's buttery, it's very nice. However, when it comes to skill and understanding photography and videography, that focal length is kind of limited. We're going to talk about 50mm later, but it's basically equal to what we see in our normal eyes. But with the 24-70, you can change up the focal length. You will learn what focal length you like the most. You will learn in a different situation. When do you want the 24? When do you want the 35? When is the 50? And when is the 70? But if you just have the 50 nifty, you won't be able to learn about those different focal lengths. Now we got that question out of the way. Let's talk about the first lens I have in my toolkit. It's an 11mm lens. 11mm is really cool. It's very wide angle. People call that the fish eye lens because you can really get close to the person, and it's very creative lens. I use that a lot to do a lot of creative shot from the ground and shooting up. Also, you can get really close, so you can get a lot of crazy cinematic B-roll slow motion shot. I used to really love to do that back in the day, but I also have a unique look. I don't know about you, but I just love a wide angle lens because you can see so many things around you. Now I have this 11mm lens and it manual focus, so you have to manually focus it. But honestly, with creative shots like this, I don't mind to manual focus. But I know that Laowa just came out with, I believe it's 10mm or 9mm lens that have autofocus. I want to get my hands onto that as well. So Laowa, if you're watching this video, reach out to me. I'd love to try out your lens. The next lens I have in my toolkit is a 16mm Viltrox, which is actually the lens that I have on my camera right now. The cool thing about this lens is the 1.8 prime lens, so you can get a shadow depth of field and pretty bokeh in the background, as you can see. And it's pretty rare to have a wide angle lens with a very shadow depth of field. I believe this lens is also one of my more budgeted lenses compared to a lot of other prime lenses out there. And the quality is pretty good, and I'm very happy with it. 16mm lens is a perfect lens for vlogging because the distance between your arm to your lens is just perfect. And also with a 16mm wide lens, people can be close to you and can see what's going on around you. It feels very intimate between you and the viewers. I also used to use this lens a lot when I shoot product videography. I like to do speed run with this wide angle 16. It's just buttery smooth, and it helped me achieve a very unique look. The next focal length we should talk about is a 24. Now I do have a 24 prime, but I also use 24 a lot on my 24 to 70mm zoom lens, and that's good enough in my opinion. Before we dive into a different focal length from 24 to 70, let's answer one more question. If you can only have one prime lens, what lens should you get? If I have only one prime lens and it has to be prime, not zoom lens, I would pick the 35mm prime lens. So the 35mm lens is still pretty wide. It's wide enough that you can still see a lot of things in the background, but also another thing that really good when it comes to 35mm in portrait is that it makes your face a little bit more skinner compared to, let's say, 50 or 70. Also with the 35 lens, the lines is still pretty straight, so it's kind of easier for you to frame the subject, to frame the things around you, and it still give you a stylistic look. After that, it's gonna be the 50mm, and people say 50mm is just equal with what you see in your eyes. It's a pretty dope lens. A lot of companies really invest into making a very shallow depth of field 50mm. It's definitely give you a whole lot of dreamy look and romantic feel. And the last focal length that I have right now in my toolkit is a 70mm. It's just because it just gives you a lot of compression because you have to step kind of far away. The bokeh stand out a little bit more, and then all the line is super straight, so it's very easy for you to frame the subject or try to be creative with it. Now this is worth to mention, I don't have the 70 to 200 with me, but those are really good focal length as well because you can step far away. It's really helpful on the event. Say in the wedding when you go to church and you can't be close to the subject, to the couple, then you can stand far away with a 200 zoom. You can still zoom in to see the couple, and the compression is really strong, so the bokeh is very dominant. Then we have 200 to 600mm lens, which is a really big lens. But those telephoto lens is really good if you go to shoot sport photography, sport videography. If you go to the stadium and you want to capture a certain person, 200 to 600 is great because you can 600mm zoom in. The compression is very strong, the bokeh is great. This kind of lenses are also really great with wildlife photography. Now also it's worth to mention there's a couple macro lens that is very famous. The 100mm macro lens. Also another creative lens that Laowa has, and I used to love those kind of lens, is the macro tube lens. And those are great. The only issue with them is that we can't really use them all the time, so they are only used for more creative projects. So again, the lens that I use the most is a 24 to 70, but if I can get any other lenses without spending too much money, I would get the 16-35, and then lastly is the 70 to 200. That will help me cover all the way from 16 to 200 without ever have to spend money on crazy expensive prime lenses. But again, if you love the bokeh, right? If you love telling a story, maybe like a romantic story, or want to look a little bit more cinematic, then maybe you want to go with some prime lenses. But in my opinion, if you just start photography, I would recommend get a zoom lens. And if you can cover all the way from 16 to 200, you really set. And that's pretty much it, guys. And before you leave, I want to give a little bit more value to you. So I would like to share with you a document on the description below where I share with you a comprehensive lens focal length guide, and you can go through them and you can decide what lens is best for you. It depends on where you're at in your journey, right? And where you want to go. I hope it helps you decide what's the next lens for you. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you like it. Make sure to click likes and subscribe. Comment below any questions, and I talk to you in the next video.